I figured I'll introduce y'all, to Wendell. He would have been 42 years old. This was my husband. He would have been 42 years old, from Covington, Louisiana. This is our family, and it's not all the children. My husband worked in the oil field. Sometime he cooked in restaurants. We met when I was 17 years old. Ten years difference. 10 years apart in age. And it's a long night. I figured since we've already started, we will, grasp hold of more of the details. And I thought about a place to start. And that was when Wendell and I found out that he had the mesothelioma. Wendell had been, he'd tell me the night before that he was struggling with the breathing. And he mentioned it again the next morning. And I said, you need to not go. You need to go to the hospital. I was a nurse aide at that time. So I studied as a nurse aide, but I also studied to want to know more about the body. Probably would have went on to further educating myself to be a nurse. So we end up going, and he thought that he was just going to have another case of pneumonia. Neither one of us thought it was going to be something drastic. We were in the state of Colorado. We lived in Aurora, Colorado. out in Montbello. My husband at the time, he was studying to be a lead he's gonna be the lead of the rig crew or whatever. So we went the next morning to the hospital, Aurora, and through the emergency room, and they said his lung was filled with fluid, and so they wanted to drain it off and stuff like that. The next day, well, they kept him. The next day, they were scheduling to do a biopsy in that. And the doctor was explaining, this long word, mesothelioma, and started explaining about what all in detail it was and so on and so forth. And I was shocked and devastated. The word would be devastated. Wendell was devastated, but he had on his face, like, he didn't quite understand all of what the doctor was saying entirely. And I believe, maybe once they did the biopsy is when he was more, a change of what he was feeling inside. We had a little baby at the time at home with us. Although we had other children, there's 3 children besides the one that was with us. We had a little toddler. So he understood that I could not stay at the hospital. He knew I had to go back home to take care of the baby. So we, phoned each other, and I was there when after the biopsy, and was able to talk with the doctors and get a better understanding. The long word, I didn't know exactly all together, but when the biopsy and everything, then they said it's terminally, then that's when it just turned, I don't know if I went into a bubble, but it's like we both were here, but we were just moving through. He would have been 42 years old. And I'm 49 now, so I look at it as I did then, that he was young. And I also thought to myself, because our other children was in the state's custody, and we had been trying to get them, and we both stood in front of a court, and they terminated our rights. My husband was infuriated because we had did all the classes without them telling us beforehand, and they still terminated our rights. So we were very much affected by that. And I thought, and I'm sure he thought, and he even talked to me